Terrence, how important in a rivalry game is it to win along the lines of scrimmage?
Man, every game is important to win along the line of scrimmage. You know, I think the game was won through the trenches. You know, offense, defensive line, each and every game. You know, if we play well, then usually we are able to put up yards, put points up. If D-line play well, then usually they're able to stop them and limit their points. So it's very important that the line play well.
Terrence, do you think more of the country is paying attention to this rivalry now, especially with both teams being 9-2 and being ranked highly in the BCS most of the year?
Yeah, I actually do. I think it's real big game. You know, even if it wasn't, you know, us being ranked and everything, I think it'd still be a huge game for both programs. You know, it's the South Carolina State Championship. You know, don't get no better than this.
They're an offense that feeds off of rhythm and getting a lot of plays and getting a lot of things happening. How important is it for you to continue to run the football the way you have, kind of keep the ball away from Georgia Tech? Did a really good job of that. I mean, your success has been with running the football. Is that something that's going to be a big part of this game come Saturday night?
Well, you know, me as offensive lineman, I want to run the ball. So, you know, hopefully that we get a lot of plays dialed up where we're running the ball, where we're able to get 4 or 5 yards to pop. You know, that'd be real good for our offense, for our team. And yeah, they have a very good offense, so you know we want to definitely try to limit their chances at the ball and everything like that.
When you look back at last year's game, do you feel like that y'all controlled the line of scrimmage, and what do you see differently out of their defensive line this year?
I see the same thing. You know, last year their defensive line was very physical, very active group, and this year they come with the same type of intensity. You know, they have good players with number 40, number 98. You know. But the whole D-line is good. You know, their backups come in and they do well as well. So I think it's really the same type of game as last year. And, you know, and both offensive lines gonna try to come out and play their best.
Terrence, you practiced against several of South Carolina's better defenses in the last decade or so. How does this year's defense compare to some of the other ones that you've seen during your career?
Just how they fly around to the ball. You know, we got a lot of players that get after it and get to the ball. Like our whole D-line can run, that very athletic athletes, and they all get to the ball very well. You know, I think this is probably the best D-line that I can go against each and every day, day in and day out. So I think that's how I prepare me each and every week to go out and play my best.
Terrence, during your recruiting process, Clemson didn't recruit you, right?
No, sir.
Yeah. But during the process, did you go to was there a game that you went to on an unofficial visit, either here that swung you for here early on in the recruitment process? You said, wow, you know, or was another school where you said, it wasn't that good? Just kind of the importance of going to one game on an unofficial visit, maybe even as a 10th grader, and the impression that gets in your head.
I think on my unofficial visit, I came to the South Carolina and Florida game. You know, I'm old now, so it was back when they came up here and we actually won. It was the first time beating them. I believe it was in '05, and it was live. It was a great atmosphere. You know, it was wild. You know, and that really helped swing me into like, oh yeah, the SEC. That's where it is right there. That's a lot of fun.
You're catching Clemson in the same situation you did in 2009. They were vying for championship in the ACC in 2009. They're doing the same thing 2011 now. Is that any effect on the way you guys might prepare for the game?
No, it has no effect on us at all. You know, this is a rivalry game. Everything go out the window. You know, records and everything. It's gonna come down to the play on the field on Saturday. Anything goes. You know, this a real big game. So we ain't worried about them winning the ACC. Congratulations to them, and we just coming to play. It's going to be a big game for us.
Terrence, what would finishing strong mean to this group of seniors? You guys have accomplished a lot. Are you discussing how you like to go out, maybe?
Oh, you know, we definitely want to finish it out, finish strong. You know, so in the years past, we did not finish as well as we wanted to, like with beating Clemson and winning the bowl game. So, you know, that's one of our goals this year, is just to finish the season out, finish strong, finish on a high note.
TC, as a sixth-year guy, you've had 3 rivalry wins over Clemson. How special would it be to get a 4th, especially when not a lot of senior classes around here have ever had 4 wins over Clemson?
It would mean a lot. It would mean a lot to me, to the other guys on the team. It would mean a lot to the young guys on the team for them going into next year. You know, it would mean a lot to the program. So I mean, it's very big, very important, and you know, it's exciting. It's a great opportunity that we have.
Terrence, there's a lot of newcomers getting playing time. Do you worry about them at all, understanding this rivalry? Do they understand it? Do you think you need to pull them aside and tell them anything?
Nah, they don't have to. You know, they feel it. They feel how important it is as we go out to practice. They feel the intensity that we're trying to bring to practice, and we're gonna be live and upbeat today in practice. You know, this is the last game of the year, rivalry game, and we want to finish up with 10 wins.
Terrence, being from out of state, was there ever a point, you know, once you got to school where it just kind of hit you how important the rivalry did mean in the state of South Carolina?
Oh yeah, it did. At first, you know, when I first came over here, of course, you know, I didn't understand how important it was to the state, to the fans, you know, to the program, because I'm from Georgia. So, but once I got up here and got into it, I fell in love with it. You know, I dislike Clemson just as much as, you know, as our fans dislike Clemson. So, you know, it's very important to us, and hey, it's a big game. We got to get it.
Terrence, just kind of revisiting what you were talking about with your unofficial for the Florida game. What do you remember about that? Did you know, on the sideline, did you go in the locker room after the game? What are some of your more specific memories of what was a really important moment in your recruitment?
You know, I remember my boy was playing. You know, Kenny McKinley was playing, and he was doing the Wildcat quarterback. And I remember he tried to do a little runner where he tried to run with the ball. He got smashed, and I was like, oh, but he looked like he might be hurt after that play. That was one of my main memories. You know, we always clowned and joked around about it. But you know, just to win, and see the environment that was on hand. It was a lot of fun.
This is the first time both these teams come in with 9 wins when they meet. Just talk about, do you feel like your 9 wins that things have kind of fallen into place? You've won a lot of close games, dealt with some injuries, and 9-2 is something to be pretty proud of, because it seems like up there 9-2 right now anyway, they're a little disappointed in that.
Yeah, 9-2 is good for us. You know, that's very good. You know, of course we always want to win more games, but for us to go 9-2, dealing with the things we went through this season, I think it just shows you how close of a group we are, how big of a family we are around here in South Carolina. You know, we all stayed together, we all pulled together, and we won them close games with team effort. You know, it was, you know, some games defense played well, some games the offense played well, but at the end of the day, we got a W, and we're sitting at 9-2, and we're very appreciative. We love it.
From looking at film with Clemson, does the way they play defense or schemes or talent remind you of anyone you've already played this year?
They got athletes. You know, they have athletes on that side of the ball. They all run around, fly around. You know, they remind me of just another SEC school. You know, it's not like they're any different. The linebackers, they move well. The D-line, they're athletic. They move well. They get after the passer. They get after the running back. They run well down the field. Their DBs cover. So it's just, you know, it's another good team with another good test for us.
Terrence, you're surprised that it's been over 40 years since South Carolina was able to beat Clemson 3 straight years?
I know that's what somebody else told me earlier this week. I mean, I'm not surprised, but at the same time, you know, that's the history that we're looking at, and we're living for right now. You know, we're making our own history. We're trying to do things differently around here in South Carolina. You know, Spirit brought a different mentality, and we're just trying to make it happen.
Terrence, are you surprised at how well this season has gone, considering that all the injuries that you guys have had to deal with and some of the turmoil like at quarterback and things like that? Are you surprised that you're at 9-2 right now and the season's gone so well, considering everything?
Oh no, I'm not surprised at all. You know, this group, we was built for whatever can happen. You know, it didn't matter to us. We was a close group from the summertime. You know, we all worked hard. We prepared ourselves for injuries. You know, that's part of the game. and we just kept moving, and we put out some big wins this season. So I'm not surprised at all.
Terrence, it seems like the offensive line has kind of picked it up the last couple of weeks. Is there any reason for that? Any reason why that's happened, you think?
Just Coach Elliott, Coach Elliott just stand on us, stand after us, he's not the type of coach that try to throw you in the dirt and keep you in the dirt. He's the type of coach that'll build you up and and let you know, hey, you can't get the job done. It's all on you. Just go out there and play hard. So we try to go out there and play hard for our coach, man. He's a real good coach, so we want to let him know it's important to us, just as important to him.
Well, Terrence, you mentioned the closeness of the team helping y'all get through some of the problems this year. Has the coaching staff helped too? Have they picked out the right game plan, or how much have they had to do with this? With you guys being at 9-2 this year?
Oh yeah, the coaches, they done a great job too with players going down, putting together a good scheme, a good game plan for us to go out there and be successful. None of this would be possible without them. So we're just all close. We're all a close group of guys, from the coaches to the players, So they really put together a good scheme, a good plan for us, so we can go out and be successful with the injuries that we have.
Anything else for TC? All right, thank you.